Well, hello there. How are you? Are we doing okay? Are we here to watch some RetroTech 120p challenge gameplay? Or are you here for the genital facts? Either way, I am here to please your every whim except that one, you dirty git. This is, yes, the RetroTech 120p challenge, and today we're playing Robocop 2. And I'm saying Robocop 2 because I think my favourite thing associated with Robocop 2 was the fake toy that came out, which I will put an image of in the corner there. So yeah, the RetroTech 120p challenge is basically you can have as many practice goes as you want. I didn't have any practice goes with this. I sort of had an idea of how it played, so from a while back. So I went, all right then, I will give it a go and see how far we go with it. And it's a fairly forgiving shoot 'em up come beat 'em up. It's sort of a cross between the original Robocop and Final Fight. It's lovely. But yeah, you can have as many practice goes as you want. But as soon as you press record, that's you go. 2 credits. That's it. Nothing else. Just the happiness of oneself. And then if you do well enough, then you'll win the challenge, and people will go, "Oh, you won the challenge." And then win, lose, or draw, and you won't be drawing. Oh, you might be drawing. I guess it's possible to draw. Then you will get to pick something that will go on the wheel, and once it goes on the wheel, it might come up next week. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. So there's still thousands of games we haven't picked yet, and probably not any of the good ones left. But no, there's still hundreds of good ones left. Not the super classics. I don't think there's hardly any of them left, but there's still good games like this one. I think this is pretty good. I prefer it actually to the original Robocop. The original Robocop's a bit harsh, and that one was quite, I thought, too similar, I think, to the home computer ones, because I think, if I remember this correctly, Data East made the original Robocop after looking at the home versions, did their own version of it, the old Ocean one, and it's fine. But this one's kind of got its own thing going on. It's got those kind of cabal sections. It's got a bit on a motorbike a bit later on. I probably just about prefer this then to the original. What about the film, though? What did you think of the film? Because I didn't mind Robocop 2. I think I watched it more than Robocop. Now, it lost a lot of the sort of the messaging of it. It just became action sequel. But it has moments in it that just always stick in my mind. You've got the little annoying kid who's like a little hoodlum, but who suddenly finds himself a bit overwhelmed towards the end, and all he is a boy who's just been led down a merry path by Kane and his gang. Still a vindictive little turd, but yeah. But in his dying moments, you see his innocence of youth flood back to him. And you got Kane, obviously. You got that bit where they're test running lots of Robocops, and there's that one who can't take it, and he's like a skeleton underneath, and he rips his head off, and he's like, he's a skull. That's pretty good. So it's certainly a film I remember better than the first one from my youth. I shouldn't have watched either of them, to be honest, but video nasties and all that. But yeah, I don't mind Robocop 2. Robocop 3 I will never watch again. It was the PG one. Terrible. Rocket Pack Robocop, robot ninjas. Poor old Nancy Allen goes, all right, I'm out of this now, thanks. Peter's already gone. I'll do half of film and then I'm off. And as for the sort of remake, it's all right. I know people go, "Oh, remakes," but you know what? People are going to make remakes. It doesn't stop the original from existing. It's fine. It's not as good as the first one, and it's not as good as number 2 either. But it is watchable in its own way. If you think of it as being Robocop 2 rather than Robocop 2, yeah, you're fine. Right, so I have taken this opportunity, and you may have noticed on my thumbnail, there's a rather suspicious-looking Robocop headed device. And I can tell you, that is a real thing. That is, yes, as you might have guessed, Robocock. It is a dildo you can get on Etsy that will cost you £123. So if you've always fancied sticking Robocop's head up your cooch, there you go, there's your opportunity. I won't provide a link, find it yourself. But genital facts of the week are related to Robocock, just because it sounds funny. And I think partly because, obviously there's the bit in the first film where poor old Alex Murphy gets blown apart. Alex Murphy, isn't that a footballer as well? Anyway, he gets blown apart by like rifles and guns and stuff, and he's not very well, so they have to rebuild him in a particular manner. And so if you had a traumatic injury, down below, that's where we're going with today's general facts. So we are talking about penile implants, and they were first introduced in 1936 by the Germans on soldiers that had had traumatic amputations of the old tallywhacker. That's right, Nazi cock implants. The doctor, whose name was N.A. Borgas, used rib cartilage as a prosthetic appendage. That must have looked beautiful. But yeah, you can now get penile implants intended for the treatment, obviously, of erectile dysfunction, and what was it, Peyronie's disease, and ischemic priapasm. I hope I say these words right. I never do. As time has passed, they've become more advanced. They are made from plastic and mechanical applications to make your old chap inflate, but they're also non-inflatable ones. So you can get one that inflates. I don't know if someone has to go blow it up, insert your own jokes there, or if you have to kind of use like one of those remember trainers from the 80s that would inflate if you squeeze the tongue. I don't know if it works like that. And where's the little balloon bit where you have to pump it? Would that be like in the third testicle? So you got to be careful, Mrs. the wife there. Don't squeeze the wrong lump there. You've got 1 in 3 chance of getting the right one. If you squeeze the other two, there'll be a high-pitched noise and a firm end to the night's activity. But inflating is not the only thing. It's not the only way you can go with this, because you can also, should you so wish, get one that sort of, it's got like basically a rod in it, and you can bend it. Like you get from Dino Rod when you're trying to clean a turd out of a toilet. You can get like a rod that you can bend your penis. Now this, to me, I think that sounds like it's got potential for the ladies. So ladies, because obviously like you might be able to bend the old chap into a very unusual position to get you right in the right place. So ladies, if you're listening to this and your husband is not satisfying, damage his penis in a horrible way, and then maybe you can have a dino rod inserted into his old chap so you have fun. Doesn't matter about his sensitivity after all. Just think of yourself, love. So yes, that's my terrible advice of the day, and I've realised that I've not talked enough about the game at all. I know that's usual, but I meant the actual genesis of the game. So the game came out in 1991. It's, as you can see, a beat-em-up stroke shoot-em-up that bears little or no resemblance to the home versions by Ocean. The Ocean ones were sort of more like akin to the first game that they made. They were platformy, but wasn't quite as good. Law of diminishing returns, because the third game on the home computers is even worse. Apart from the Amiga one, which was kind of like an early prototypey first-person game, which looks a bit like Super Hot, if you've ever played Super Hot. That one's pretty good, but the rest, it's not aged well. But apart from that, yeah, the rest are kind of crappy platformers that are nowhere near as good as the original. The original was groundbreaking stuff. Love Robocop 1 on the Spectrum, but yes, law of diminishing returns with those platformers. 1's good, 2's alright, 3's and don't play any of those on the NES either. 2 and 3. Did they do 1? I'm pretty sure they did, because they're PARP versions, and you can get much better games than anything Ocean's ever done on the NES. Pretty much, not everything, but. So yes, this arcade version of Robocop, because obviously you had those home versions, it wasn't really converted to anything. And I don't think, even to this day, there's ever been a home version of it. If I'm wrong, let me know. I would imagine the licensing is a bit dodgy now, so it would be difficult to have a home version of this, even on like one of those Data East packs or whatever. You get whether you get the you used to get the PS2 ones that had, like, discs that had certain games on them. So yeah, I still think to this day it's probably impossible. I don't know if they've done like anything on. I didn't see anything with my research. I thought that robot was one of the creations from Robocop 2 initially, and then you see a guy jump out of it, so it clearly isn't. So yes, this, as I say, is pretty much an arcade exclusive, and it's a pretty good one too. So yeah, perhaps you should entertain yourself and go and play this legally in an arcade if you can find one. That would be interesting. See if it's under Robocop 2 cabinet. But yeah, look at the variety on offer here. You've got like, we've had those that enter the screen section. Now we've got like a shoot while on a motorbike section. This is the bit in the film where he pursues Kane and he ends up killing him. Well, his human form anyway, which we'll see soon. I don't know if it's actually possible to take damage in this bit. I didn't really check while I was doing it because it was all a bit high octane as I was taking things out as I rush towards Detroit here. But you'll see a cutscene in a minute where Robocop rather dramatically propels himself through the windscreen and kills Kane outright, being a big lump moving at high speed through Kane's body. That'll learn him, won't it? It doesn't learn him, because he becomes a big cyborg fella and ends up as a brain in a tube. There he is. Well, they still give him his human eyes. There you go. You can look at your horror. But he ends up addicted to drugs, being a little robot. Yeah, Robocop. Again, I keep mentioning it. So what's coming up on the channel this week? I believe this is the week I finally put Oink up. It got delayed by the 1,000 subscriber special. I was going to put it up the week before, then decided, you know what, we should have a bit of variety, because in the summer I've got a lot of sports games, so let's ease them in a bit. Rather than start the sports games early, we'll go to having like the 1,000 subscriber special, which I think turned out all right. I was quite happy with that. But yeah, Oink. So Oink, if you remember correctly, and if you don't remember it at all, let me explain what it was. It was like a comic that was a bit like Viz, but for kids. So it had loads of poo and bum jokes in it. So something that still appeals to me to this day, because I've never grown up, hence the nomenclature of the channel. So yeah, that's something that will keep you entertained, won't it? So we've got that coming up, and then the following week I've got Family Fortunes on the DS. Why not? And then later on, I think, yeah, we've got 4 football games in a row, but they're not really football games. They're just sort of, well, one is, but they're all sort of weird licenses to do with football. And then after that, I've got a weird tennis license called Wimbledon. And I've just started work on one of the 2 Olympics ones I'm going to do. One of which is based on Ants, the movie Ants. And the second is an official Olympic game you might have heard of if you had it on the Mega Drive or Super Nintendo, which I haven't got round to playing yet, which is Izzy's Quest for the 8 Rings, which is an Olympics platformer game based on, I think, Barcelona, probably Barcelona 92. Don't expect me to do any Montserrat Cabal or Freddie Mercury impressions. This bit is interesting, isn't it? Because it's fascinating, because like, are these the like clones of the guy who fell in the toxic waste in the first film. And actually, in a minute, you get to see the boss of this stage is someone who deliberately throws themselves into toxic waste to get more powerful. I don't think he was in a right condition to fight, from what I remember. But yeah, he does in this. But yeah, today I went up to London. I took my boy out for his birthday, and he wanted to do VR at Sandbox in London. I can really recommend that if you've ever wanted to try proper full-on VR with, like your Andy Serkis balls on you. Basically, they put the balls on you. I've got to be careful how I say this. Balls on your ankles and wrists that detect all your movements, and they put 3 of you, or 4, well, it was 3 of us today, but like you can have up to 6 people in a room. We did this thing, which was like a medieval sort of fantasy thing called something, the Shard. It's a Sandbox VR. If you ever get the opportunity, it's really expensive, and there's a robot barman. But it's really cool. It is really cool. And we went up and did that. And then we took him out for shopping. And we had a look at Forbidden Planet. And he's never been someone who likes like trinkets or toys or anything. So we ended up going to CX instead. And he got a game. And I saw something that I will be covering later on in the year if I can get it working. And you know what? Because it's a PC game from CEX, probably won't work. But I will find a way to do it. But I found Murder, She Wrote. Murder, She Wrote the game on PC, and it looks absolutely awful. So I'm really looking forward to doing that because I'm a masochist. And as a masochist does, I've been beaten up by toxic waste victims, and that is the end of my go. So please have a look at the other videos that everyone's going to be doing for this, and take part yourself, because it's a nice, pleasant, non-stressful game. It's quite easy to get far in it. People get further than me than this. I am sure of that, because I'm terrible at games and didn't practice. But until next time, thank you for joining us, and thanks, bye.